Hey everyone, it's the failed one. So today we're going to be playing more Lamento Beyond the Void. Last time we left off, it was a very sorrowful, thoughtful moment. Well, not thoughtful, but like something that makes you really think. And we find out about the world and how we sacrifice people so that we can stay alive, because we need the food to stay alive, and the only thing left is killing our own villagers for food, or else we'd all go hungry and die. So we're here looking at two people who are, well, one of them's a sacrifice and the other one's probably a family member, and we were talking about how we felt really about this moment and what's going through our mind, or Konoe's mind. So we will continue with that. Unfortunately, I'm sick today. I thought my cold would get better, but it's like getting worse. So I'm sorry if I sound really horrible. So the one he sympathized with was no one. Before that, so he could not afford to empathize with the sorrow of others, so the one he sympathized with was no one. We don't sympathize with anybody. There was a thread of sadness that had begun to twine around his heart. The feelings of the two cats surged through him, and Konoe's knees buckled. He had always been that way. He had felt it yesterday during his quarrel with Sin. For some reason, his heart occasionally empathized with the hearts of others. If he had to put it in words, he would say it felt as though water was flowing into his heart. So I think that's a really weird way of looking at it, but I guess it's one of those things where you don't understand why you feel a certain way. So he's very empathetic, but he doesn't understand why, and he doesn't like that feeling. It was not a comfortable thing at all. They were rarely good feelings either. Negative feelings are more common and sometimes very strong. When it happened, Konoe felt like he was ruled by the emotions of the others. It was painful and unpleasant. Therefore, Konoe usually controlled his heart and tried not to empathize with others. If he lived alone, then he wouldn't suffer. So I guess that adds to the reasoning as to why he stays alone. He doesn't need to empathize or sympathize with anybody, especially in this cruel world. Konoe turned his face away from the torch and headed home. Oh, our first choice. So we have think about the sacrifice and don't think about the sacrifice. I think I'm gonna go with don't think about the sacrifice, especially because, well, I personally am the type of person who doesn't like to think or keep brooding on something that happens. It's like, oh, it's done, not much we can do unless there is. But like, I think Konoe is the same, where he doesn't want to empathize with other people. He doesn't want to, and in this world, if you don't kill to eat, you starve to death. It's the only way to survive. So especially when it's a way of life, I would go with don't think about the sacrifice, and it follows Konoe's train of thought as well, so it works. Konoe returned home after some time after midnight. Sleep did not come to him easily when he went to bed, and his thoughts drifted for a while. Soon he fell asleep without noticing, and had a dream. Oh, cool. We get to go into his dream world. Konoe woke up in a mysterious place. Various colors of light intersected. He felt as though his body was transparent and floating in water. His tail swayed lightly. He heard music but couldn't tell where it was coming from. It was both near and far. It enveloped him like a comfortable sleep, and he drifted off. At this time, Kanoe was so terribly defenseless. He thought he'd melt and become one with the air. When he started to think about this, he began to hear, in the midst of the distance, music. The sound of a beating heart. Thump, thump. It sounded like the beating of his own heart. Where was he? Where was he drifting? This is actually a really strange place. Suddenly, his vision was painted green. The green light surrounded him, and he struggled to break free. Kanoe felt something coil around his ankle. It was cold, thin, and smooth. Before he could be certain of what it was, it forcefully started to climb up his body. Ugh, it's creepy! Kanoe felt a flash of resentment and tried to stop the coiling thing with his hand, but he could not. It easily glided over his chest and wounded itself around his neck. Little by little, it tightened around his throat as if it enjoyed the feeling of squeezing tightly into his flesh. Oh no, it's choking! No, it was choking! He recklessly tried to snatch at it with his claws. Something broke off and fell. Kanoe's eyes rolled about desperately. A green scale had fallen on the translucent floor. When he saw the edge of whatever was coiling around him, this thing, a serpent? Ugh. Well, I mean, I like serpents, but do you feel it? A voice suddenly echoed in his head. Kanoe felt a wet, cool touch against his cheek. Oh no, who else is there? The snake's head was right beside his face. Oh. Its sharp eyes stared at him. Its tongue, as red as blood, flickered. The voice kept sounding in his head. Do you feel it, overflowing from my scales? My tongue, my eyes, my heartbeat, my existence. Do you feel it? Existence? Yes, existence. Answer me, what am I to you? What do you feel? Even if asked, it was difficult to think when it hurt to breathe. Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to answer or even think if I'm like, I need to breathe. No, he struggled his hands, clawing at the snake's scales, his feet kicking wildly, all in vain. Answer me. The snake demanded it from him. Its coils did not loosen. No, it tried to cling into consciousness. Second. A joyful impulse surges. The snake painfully strangles the heart. I don't think I'd feel joyful. Like, yeah, I guess I'll go with the snake painfully strangles the heart. It's the one that seems the most logical to me. Kanoe could make no sound. He only vaguely imagined his answer. The snake suddenly loosened its grip on his throat. Had it read his thoughts? Probably. This is a dream. Or a weird world. Kanoe fell down and coughed intensely. Oh no! It hurt. Even though he was released, the feeling of being strangled wouldn't go away. On the contrary, it seemed like the grip on his throat kept tightening, like it was trying to squeeze it into nothingness. The green snake slid off his back. It seemed to be laughing at him as it raised its head in the shape of a sickle. I don't know about Oh, he does talk. I didn't hear this before. But yeah, I don't know about snakes, but... I mean, sorry, the color green, but I know for sure snakes are very ominous creatures. The snake opened its mouth wide, revealing 2 ferocious fangs. The snake approached, laughing. Kanoe tried to escape by kicking off the ground, but he couldn't move his body. Saliva dripped from the fangs and laughter echoed in the depths of Kanoe's mind. The tightness around his neck was still there. He couldn't breathe any longer. His vision grew hazy. It was useless. Kanoe jumped out of bed. His heart beat like a drum, his body was bathed in sweat, as if he was doused with water, and his breath was ragged with fear. I'm gonna say this was like a premonition or something, trying to tell us something. What did he just see? What happened? Confused, Kanoe lashed his tail repeatedly, just like an annoyed cat. That was it, a dream just now. Only one word floated through his mind.
Human.
Saying it out loud, Kanoe understood the meaning of the word. His strength left his body. He released a deep sigh. Dream. Was it really a dream? It had to be. Such a place didn't exist in reality after all. Doesn't, but who knows? However, Kanoe swallowed and brought a hand up to his throat. Glimmering green scales, thin pupils, a wide open mouth, sharp fangs. The afterimage was so vividly burned into Kanoe's mind that it hardly felt like a dream. What do you feel? Answer. The voice echoed in his head. As Kanoe remembered it, his settled heartbeat once again sped up. The snake might still be near. Kanoe unconsciously began to search for any trace of it. I don't think he's gonna be around Kanoe. The stillness of the night was the only thing to be heard. Kanoe looked outside the window. The moon of shadow was floating in the sky. Trying to distract himself, Kanoe stood up and approached the barrel of water. Taking off the lid and lowering his face into the water's dark surface, I feel a little scared. Especially because it's all dark. Suddenly, the water splashed. Yeah, I'd feel scared too. Kanoe instinctively jumped back. The green snake came to mind again. Why was he so jumpy? It was just some water splashing. Kanoe persuaded himself to approach the barrel again. He gently poked the water with his fingertip. For a moment, Kanoe waited. A small ripple spread through the otherwise unchanging water. Guess there is nothing. It was ridiculous. He was acting so weird just because of a strange dream. But it was still a creepy dream. I would be freaked out as well. Feeling better, Kanoe caught his breath and then lapped up some water. It was sweet, and he noticed that he was more thirsty than he thought, most likely from the sweating. Kanoe wiped his mouth with his hand and sat down with his tail wrapped around his body. He stared at a point on the floor. Sleep was definitely out of the question now. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to sleep either. I don't know about you guys, but like freaky dreams like that, I end up being like a little jumpy, looking around like, was this really a dream? And then it'd take me a while to go back to sleep. Kanoe wasn't able to sleep for the rest of the night and groomed himself until the morning light began to shine. So we're the next day now. Kanoe went for reconnaissance the next day, dragging along his body heavy with lack of sleep. Are we going to meet Sin again? To be honest, he didn't feel particularly attached to his territory, but that didn't mean that he didn't need it. His territory was made for important hunting grounds. Other cats may cause trouble if Kanoe left it alone for a few days. His scent would fade away and other cats would claim his terrain as their own. thinking exactly like a real cat. The Rebecca mainly marked their territory by scratching at the trunks of trees with their claws. Doing so left a scent mark, and other Rebecca could identify the owner of this land through that scent. So with their pheromones, I guess they have pheromones in their claws as well. But no matter how many scratches you left in a tree, the strength of your scent would always tell others whether or not you were there. So you scratch more, put more pheromones on there, I guess. Thanks to Konoe's lack of sleep the night before, the moon of light's rays hurt his eyes. His thoughts felt hazy, and it felt difficult to even move his eyes. He happened upon a rare sight as he was walking to his territory. Several cats were crowding around a home, and the atmosphere was tense. What was going on? Konoe came closer. He peeked inside the house. Is this the house we saw before? At the center of the dark house, two cats sat across from each other at a round table. One of them held a ladle which was filled with black mass. Maybe it was a divination. Heated clay was scooped up from the pattern that resulted. Someone's future could be foretold. It was Rubykin tradition, and many cats relied on it. Now, are these two cats from here? The cat holding the ladle seemed displeased. The cats that were looking at the entrance of the home lost their composure. Konoe usually didn't care for fortune-telling, but he shook faintly when he remembered the dream he had. Maybe they were connected. Konoe felt uneasy about that for a long time. Konoe gazed at the contents of the ladle. A white design stood out on the surface of the impure black mud. Konoe looked then to the cat holding the ladle. The divining cat saw him, narrowed his eye, and snuffled. Uh-oh. I think we need to be very careful in that case. The cats at the table all turned to him at once. In Karo, it was widely known that Konoe was an orphan. Along with his unsociability, Konoe also kept himself distant from all the other cats. Therefore, Konoe felt a distinct sense of resentment from the cats that looked at him now. They're still here, he thought. He heard such a voice. Well, they probably are thinking things like that, especially now that something ominous is going to happen, and they're like, and the old cat told them you need to be careful. It's like, we want you out of this village so nothing bad happens to us. Konoe silently took his leave. Something bad was coming. That's what the cat had said, but divinations weren't exactly reliable. Instead, Konoe focused on hunting and guarding his territory. His territory had not yet been eroded by the void. When he stepped on a plant or on the earth, it still felt familiar to him like it always had, and he felt slightly relieved. Okay, so we actually do go hunt in the forest and claim that as territory. Konoe scratched at the trunk of a nearby tree while walking, renewing his scent. Konoe inhaled the scent of the air. No intruders today. Perhaps it was because of the void, but lately a lot of cats' territories were being disturbed. Konoe finished surveying his territory, bagged a few nuts and medicinal herbs he'd found, and returned home. The day passed just like any other. Konoe stopped on his way home. Several cats left the house where the torch had burned yesterday. A slender cat walked along the village elder, his eyes downcast. Oh, who is this cat? He would be the sacrifice. Aww. Well, he seems very skinny, somewhat, but not bad looking. Such a shame. A bandage covered a wound on his arm. His partner from the night before was nowhere to be seen. Konoe figured that would be the case. So his partner died and now he's dying? Or did his partner just leave him because he's going to be the sacrifice now? The feelings that flowed from the cats were wrought with pain. Konoe wouldn't be able to just see him off quietly. After this, the sacrifice would go to the home of the elder. He'd purify himself, hold a ceremony to bring peace to his soul, and then... The thought was unbearable, and Konoe looked away. The sacrifice never looked up, but his ears were determinedly turned forward. The ceremony would be held at midnight. Those who wanted food gathered quietly at the home of the elder. It's kind of gruesome. Konoe thought that he would never join them, no matter how hungry he was. Maybe the sacrifice's partner was also thinking just the same thing. I would try to do that for sure. It's like, yeah, sacrifice for the others, but I think I could survive on my own. Konoe sympathized. It made his chest ache. Sacrifice. As long as you were a cat of Karo, you could not escape from this law. Law? Suddenly a feeling of anger surfaced. Something about this law was odd. The elder chose the sacrifice. It was unfair. He ate and then decided who should be eaten next. Yeah, that is very, very gruesome, actually. Yeah. He's the real cannibal. Konoe cursed him in his heart. He didn't understand why he was so angry. Perhaps it was because of what he saw the night before. Yeah, especially when you're the one who chooses. This method existed because people were starving. It was necessary if anyone wanted to survive. It was the only way. He understood it. Konoe clenched his fist, nails digging into his palm, and walked away slowly. It's nighttime again. So, it's nighttime, and we're going to leave it here for today as well. So, I will see you guys next time, and we'll see what else this village of Karo has in store for us, and what this ominous thing that's going to happen to us. What is it going to be? What's going to happen? Are we going to meet our true love in the next one? Who knows? So, see you guys later. Bye.